was like, man, I like that idea. And, because you got to, in things like this, with the ability that I have being at the Capitol, you don't want to waste your shot, and I just think it sounds harsh, and it is harsh, but the crime they would be committing is way worse on that victim than what they would be facing. And I told someone too, if God forbid, if that was to ever happen to my daughter, the least of the offender's problem is going to be the bill. They're going to be dealing with me.
And it also, it's an option for the judge. It's not
correct.
It's not a mandatory minimum here. It's an option.
That's right. That's right.
For severe offenders.
Yeah. I agree. And and you hear about it constantly, and I don't know why, but it seems like the last couple of years that issue has just, with like pedophiles, has just in the news and the media so much. Just getting, we're just getting worn out with it. And so we're gonna try to pass something that really does something about that.
So, I Googled exactly what is chemical castration, because in my mind, it's one thing. In reality, it's another. So I'm going to tell people real quick exactly
Sure.
Anybody can just go to Google and be like, what is chemical castration? It gives you the quick little AI overview here. And it says chemical castration is a medical procedure that involves administering medications to suppress the production of sex hormones, primarily testosterone. And Fred, what I realized is they're lowering your test. This is the same thing that they're doing to people for gender, not reassignment surgery, but gender reassignment therapy. And so it really hit home, or not hit home, but really landed the plane directly on a path I've been talking about on this show forever, with these crazy doctors and whatnot, giving, young boys and stuff, underage kids, these therapies to try to convert them and do all this other stuff. And they're chemically castrating kids. And not to drag you into this, but that would be the same thing they're going to do to these sex offenders. I just want y'all to think about that out loud for a second here. Something that people are going in willingly, these doctors are willingly doing to underage kids to satisfy their crazy parents' needs, is the same thing we're talking about potentially doing to sex offenders here in Mississippi. And that's bring their testosterone levels down. And y'all know me, I ain't about no low T behavior at all. And so then I just want to finish reading this real quick, but that just jumps out at me. But it says treatment for sex offenders. Chemical castration is sometimes used as a treatment for sex offenders, particularly those who have committed violent crimes. This aims to reduce their sex drive and prevent future offenses. And of course, it's also used for medical procedures, as previously mentioned. And this is something I 100% co-sign on as a punishment for sex offenders.
When that bill came out, it got a lot of press, and then I had a bunch of people reaching out to me. And last week I had a little message on my desk at the Capitol, and it was a lady from North Mississippi, and she had left me a message too. And I thought, I was like, well, this is obviously I'm gonna call her back, and I was kind of thinking she was going to be one way with it. And she said, look, I'm 87 years old, and I have a granddaughter who's about, who would fit in this, being under 13 years of age. And she said, Fred, you've got a bill, and I stand with you, and I support you, and I want this to pass. And it was just real heartwarming. And this was kind of a fight that this lady has had without her lifetime on, people who commit these atrocious crimes to minors. And, she was giving me some feedback, and just made me see, hey, what you're doing is right. What we're trying to do here is the right thing to do. So it's got a lot of support. So we'll kind of see, we'll see what happens.